Hi there, I'm John. Many moons ago, I started a program here in New Orleans called Operation Spark, and the idea came about from a conversation I was having with a friend of mine, Amanda, um, who dared me to start a program to help young people fast track into high wage careers and kind of avoid the lengthy time and high cost of the university route. And so that's how Operation Spark came about. What you're going to witness right now in this little podcast series, this episode of Nerds of New Orleans, is a conversation with four of the original first cohort of our high school graduates. These are four young men who graduated from the full 2 year track of our high school program, and at age 17 and 18 went straight into the workforce as junior software engineers, with starting salaries in the $70,000 range. Fast forward to now, these fellows are 4 or 5 years into professional careers. They're intermediate developers. They're making six figures. They're doing great. And I had so much fun catching up with them. And I just, you're going to see the sort of camaraderie that they have and the love that they have for each other, which I've learned came about from their time here at OpSpark. It's just impressive to see the things that they've done and the careers that they've launched. And I think it's a testament to our staff and the program that we've developed here at Operation Spark and what's possible, when you provide the opportunity for young people to train in the way that we do here at OpSpark. And so I hope you enjoy the remarkable stories of these four young gentlemen that we affectionately here at Operation Spark call the Fab Four.
You on the phone?
Okay, so I'm here with Alec and Semaj and Makiya and Darrian, and then I'm John, of course. And so these fellows are the OG graduates of our high school program. Back in, let's see, what year did you graduate from the program, from the adult program?
Was it 2019?
Yeah. 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
2020. So it's been almost 5 years now that that you've been doing this. So I'm gonna go around the group. Alec, tell us about you, man. Where are you from? How did you get into OpSpark in the high school program days and all that? So give us a little bit of feedback there on you.
Yeah, I'm from Gretna, Louisiana, born and raised. I went to high school in Algiers. It was NOMA, New Orleans Military Maritime Academy.
Yep.
And I had heard about the program the beginning of my junior year. You guys had came to my school. And I remember there was like a flyer around the school saying, if you want to learn how to build the app, we have this like program that's coming to the cafeteria in a certain time. I remember there was probably about like 250 people that came to the cafeteria that day. It was a bunch of
Wow.
people. It was a pretty big turnout. So, and it was Ben who ended up being my very first instructor who was over there pretty much giving the presentation. So, yeah, that's when I first heard about you guys, but I didn't end up getting into the cohort until my second semester of junior year. So, that's how it started out.
Very cool, man. Very cool. And Makiya, how about you, man?
So I was born in New Orleans, but mostly raised in Houston,
Oh yeah.
and then came back to New Orleans for high school, and then ended up finding the program. Basically, we had a flyer that came through our computer science class and mentioned that this was an alternate place we could go to build apps and websites and stuff like that, something I was already interested in.
Yep.
And so I gave it a shot and pulled up one day and just kept coming since then. So that's where we are now.
Yeah. And so when you were back and forth between here and Houston in high school, or you came over here because you were at Sci High, right?
Right. I came over back to New Orleans my sophomore year.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
And then you did the rest of high school here.
Correct. Yeah.
All right, Semaj, man, tell us about you.
In my sophomore year, I was also at Sci.
Yep.
In my sophomore year, I did I think they had an entire class. It wasn't just like a after school program. It was class offered at Sci. I took that. Yeah, did well enough to continue going. So
Yep. Yeah, cool. And wait, what year did you start with us over here?
in high school,
Yeah.
that was 2017. I want to say.
Yeah, were we still downtown or where were we?
At the time, I think it was on Camp Street, but you guys had
Oh, yeah.
came to my school and did like a full daytime
Oh, right.
class.
Yeah, probably Maggie, right?
Yes, it was
yeah.
Maggie.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, and Darrian, how about you, man?
Yeah, I'm from New Orleans, basically. I started in Operation Spark my sophomore year. I was going to Clark at the time.
Okay.
Took a group of us, asked us what we wanted to be, when we got to college. Said I wanted to be an engineer. At the time, wasn't sure what type of engineer. So then they came to our school with like opportunities, and OpSpark was one of them. Got to talk to Micaa, I believe.
Yep.
And I ended up switching schools to International High School of New Orleans, and found you guys again there, and started the adult program, I believe. But yeah, I've been in OpSpark since we was on the Camp Street as well.
Okay, cool. And so for those people that don't know about our program, our high school program, there's a couple years of classes. There's like a fundamentals class, an advanced class, and then y'all elected to do our half day program with us. So that's you were coming every day, a half day in the afternoons or something.
Yep.
And going through the same material that the adult program deals with. So you're doing all the sprints and learning, client server software development, that kind of stuff. And then you all elected to then jump into the summer and kind of do the senior part to finish the adult program. You actually finished with the adults, huh? And so you guys were the first cohort to do that, go all the way through that programming. And so, you're kind of legendary around here. We kind of have Micaa and the crew call you the Fab Four because you guys were the first and you really did really well. And I think some of you did our electives too, eh? Like you were in my video game programming class and you were too, right? Did you do it too?
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you guys do the IoT thing?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you did it. You did everything. You
Yeah.
just crossed off every box. How about you, Alex? Did you do that?
Yeah, we did IoT together. I didn't do the video game course, but yeah, I did all the other ones.
You did, eh? Cool. So you guys are just badass because that's a lot. That's a lot of programming and that's a lot of advanced stuff. And at ages, you were 17, 18 at the time.
I was 16.
You were 16. Okay. So that's heavy, man. I really, I'll gush about y'all throughout the whole conversation, but it's an incredible, when we designed this program and we started kind of developing it, the idea was, I had been working in Montreal prior to starting OpSpark, and up there kids go to grade 9, grade 10 regular high school, and then they go to college in grade 11, grade 12. And I was working with a lot of these young people coming out of they're called CEGEPs, the colleges. I don't know what the acronym stands for. It's French. But they were killing it, and I was like, oh, we could do this kind of thing in New Orleans. And that was kind of the idea with the half-day program and getting young people really trained up for jobs. So, Micaa, why don't we start with you and just tell me a little bit about what the experience was like going from maybe some of the fundamental stuff that you learned here to jumping into the more advanced stuff and then into the half-day program.
Yep. So from each level, it was definitely like a step up. From basics and fundamentals to just the advanced, we definitely got into some more good stuff. And then moving into half day, it definitely picked up intensity because that is the first part of the adult program that we were going through together. And so we took that at a pretty good pace, I'd say, in order to digest it well. And then just moving up from there, getting into even immersion, that was a whole nother one of the beats. So
Right, because you went from high school kind of hours to half day, like you were getting kind of immersed already with the half day program. But then once you jumped into the senior part with adults, you guys were there 6 days a week, 11 hours a day for that phase, huh?
right,
So that must have been
yeah.
quite a jump.
Yeah.
And then how was it technically? I guess I'll go down the list here. Like Semaj, like when you made that jump, like I remember you in my in my video game programming class actually, and you were sawing through the material like it was nothing. I would hand out the exercises and you'd be like 15 minutes later you'd be done with the whatever it was. And I remember that saying, "Oh man, this guy's crushing it." So when you got to the adult level stuff and the pace of that program, how was that? How was that?
Well, I mean, I felt like it was pretty fun. I think all four of us really enjoyed it, just because we had been doing it for so long that it's like second nature almost.
Yeah.
But even the jump from like high school to half day, I felt like we didn't really understand what we were getting into once we
Yeah.
got into half day.
Oh, right.
Because I remember like the first exercise, I think Kendall was our teacher. He was
Yeah.
like, "Hey, you guys can do this." Like, I think it was like a warm up of the first sprint. He was like, "Do this,"
Yeah.
and we had no idea what we were doing. Like, we instead of actually doing the problems the correct way, everybody went into the test suite and started changing the answers in the test suite to get them all green.
Oh my gosh.
And then we just didn't have any experience with like an actual IDE like VS Code. So we were used to like it was like Amazon. I think we were using Amazon Web Services,
Yeah.
their IDE to like code stuff.
Yeah.
So we just had no idea how to even get to like the actual part of the exercise.
Yeah. That's better. Yeah, there you go. I'm going to keep that in. And Darrian, how about you, man? When you were making that jump, tell me a little bit about what that was like going from high school straight into the adult thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a different ballpark. The stuff we were doing was not easy, but like in terms of immersion, it was easy. But no, it was a really fun challenge that got to do with my guys here, and we made it through. I really enjoyed it. I'd do it again, but luckily we've done it once.
That is cool that you would do it again, though. That's good to hear.
Yeah, I had an amazing time.
Alec, how about you, man? Tell me about that jump and then. Mhm.
Yeah, I'd say like during the half day program, we were able to get exposed to a lot of those sprints that were ended up utilized in the junior and senior part of the immersion. So I think that helped us out a good bit, being able to get comfortable because obviously it was brand new as well, and we're coming out of high school. So I feel like now from my perspective, like a lot of people that's in it, a certain work ethic is required. So, the four of us working together was definitely essential to getting part of it, I feel like. But yeah, I think, being exposed to a lot of the content during our senior years was very beneficial and just, all being together. It made it, it was difficult, obviously, but, we made it through it rather seamlessly.
And Alec, did you guys know each other prior to coming to OpSpark, or did y'all meet here and then form that kind of team bond dealio? How'd that happen?
Yeah, I met everybody at Spark. I know like Semaj and Makiya, they went to high school together. I'm not sure if I mean, they might be able to explain if they had friendships like during that time, but I know we all got really close like during the half day program, and especially, those weeks leading into the immersion. Kendall really put it into our mindset that, we'd be developing a really strong bond and friendship going into this. So, and that's actually, ended up being what happened. So,
Yeah, shout out Kendall.
Yeah.
yeah, shout out to Kendall for real. So yeah, he was crucial in that. So, these are like our equivalent of like our college friends, so since we didn't go to college, so, it's
Yeah.
like, bonded and, build a good chemistry.
Awesome. And then that was the deal. Once you guys were in Makiya, I think you were in my advanced class when I was still teaching.
Yep.
And then all of y'all did the video game programming class when I first taught it, but then you were on to other instructors after that. And maybe Maggie was around at that time, and Ben. Do you remember Ben?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben. Ben's a good dude.
I
And
think
then
Ben actually, I think it might have been Ben's like first year or something, because he sat into my class and like was like observing and trying to like. I think he was TAing when I
Oh,
went
yeah.
through the program.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. When you guys did your thesis project, what was it? Tell us about what that is, and then did you guys do it together as a team? How'd that go? Makiya.
So I think the name of our app was Scatter. Was it that one or was it Famstagram? I can't remember what the last one we did was.
The thesis, was that like the end of the? Oh, that's not a final project.
It's your final project, yeah, in immersion. So
Oh, yeah,
yeah, the
yes.
big like 4-week kind of sprint dealio. So
Oh, I actually think we all did separate ones. I
Right.
think that was the project that we finally broke into groups with the other adults
oh,
on.
cool.
So for the most part of the adult program, we were a group that we just stuck with, and the adults rotated. But for that last project, we all got together and mixed up.
Okay.
So yeah, mine was called Scatter, and it was like a geolocation-based cycling game.
Oh yeah.
So we'd like place markers around the city.
And you had to
um,
ride and pick them up, kind of thing.
Had to ride and pick
Right.
them up, and you could like get real-time notifications from whoever else you were racing against in your lobby, send messages, stuff like that. And so had a lot of fun filming the trailer for that one that I showed at the showcase. So yeah, that was mine. It was super fun.
Yeah, I remember that app. I remember wondering how you guys placed the markers in the street and somewhere a bike could be, kind of thing. So how did you do that?
Yeah, we definitely had to use like Google Maps API. Otherwise, we would have been toast there.
Yeah.
Because that's definitely we had in the beginning. Markers going behind fences and like stuff like that.
In people's houses.
So it's like a little bit of work. But once we got them in the streets, it was a piece of cake. So
And when you were testing that, did you actually somebody get out there on a bike and do it, or
100%. After being inside for 11 hours a day,
right?
the best part was being able to get up and test the app, move your legs. And I used to ride my bike a lot. And
Oh yeah.
we also had another guy on our team who used to ride his bike all the time. So we'd go out there and test it and
Wilson.
have a blast. Yeah, Wilson. So
Yeah.
it was super fun.
Okay. And Semaj, how about you, man? What was your app? Do you remember your thesis project?
My app, I can't remember the name of it, but it was a bike app as well. Funnily enough, it wasn't a
minute.
game, but it was more along the lines of if you're familiar with Waze.
Yeah.
It was that for bikes.
Yeah.
We programmed it to like try to learn the user's preferred paths. So we started off with using just the Google API for bikes.
Oh, cool.
But then like if we see this user's like, oh, they tend to take this route instead of that one,
Uh-huh.
we would serve them the preferred, like the route that they usually take versus the one that was provided by Google.
Okay, that's cool. And so it was learning. It's kind of like
Yeah,
a little bit like machine learning, kind of
very rudimentary.
Rudimentary. Yeah. Nice. Okay.
But also users could report like if a power line was down or that type of thing, and it would
Yeah.
verify based off how many people reported this incident, and then it would show it to like all users or whatnot.
That's cool. Cool. So, and were you guys leaning on the Waze API to do that, or how are you?
No, we actually had our own in-house like database to store that information. Yeah, it was more along the lines of trying to keep bikers safe.
Yeah.
Because like if there was an area where like people were getting their bikes stolen or their wheels taken off or whatever, people would be able to see that on the app and say, hey, don't go here.
There's an alligator. Don't
Exactly.
drive that
Be
way.
careful.
And Darrian, how about you, man? What was your app? And then tell us about your app.
I actually worked on the same app as Makiya, along with Wilson. Scatter.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And all right, so then Alec, tell me about the app you were involved in for thesis.
Yeah, my app was called Planner. It was a vacation budgeting app. I remember these guys were teasing me because everyone else was making mobile apps and my team was making web apps. So it's like, but yeah, it was a vacation budgeting app. You know, you put in like a price range. I believe with like icons. You know, kind of like how you see on Yelp. You pass in like, the location you want to go to, what kind of, how you want to travel, bus, train, plane, car. And I think like one more configuration, and we pretty much just would like scrape APIs, flight APIs, hotel APIs, based on what they passed in as like parameters, and then pretty much just give them an array of like suggested like full itineraries, pretty much with all those information and the links provided for each of those. So we liked it. We would definitely work harder on it, I feel like. So I was pretty happy how it came out.
Okay, so back then, do you guys look back at your that project at all and say, what was I thinking? Or like, do you look back at your code or ever like think about like the challenges that you were having then and be like, either now I could do that tons better, or do you think, like, are you surprised about what was challenging then versus what's challenging now? So let me start with, I'm going to go back to Alec. Go.
So my apologies, I forgot. So what was challenging then versus now?
Yeah.
In the code, yeah. I'd say comprehension for me personally, like being able to break down the repo and understand like the modules used and the build technology and also like the CI/CD side of things.
Uh-huh.
I think I understand that a lot more now versus when I was back then in the program.
Oh wait, yeah. So for any like non-technical nerds that happen to be watching this, Alec, why don't you first explain for us like what is the thesis project that we're all talking about here that you guys had to do, and then you just mentioned like CI/CD, so maybe explain that as well.
Yeah, so CICD is continuous integration, continuous development, I believe. And it's essentially the tools that's used to allow your code to be merged to remote trees and whatnot, and deploy them to different environments with multiple teammates working on the same code. So it allows you to pretty much, continuously push code to your environments without, breaking stuff. Because,
Yeah.
we experienced that a lot during the programs for sure.
Yeah. Nice. And then what's the thesis project? What are we yapping about? We're all talking about this fabled thesis project, but tell us a little bit about what that is.
Yeah, so for context, I'd say the junior course is when we were getting introduced to frameworks and, a little more advanced into the full stack development perspective and domain. And in the beginning of the senior course, we had three projects essentially. So it was Greenfield, Legacy, and then the thesis. And so Greenfield was kind of like our very first time with our ideas building something from the ground up, MVP, which is like a full stack and back, a front end and back end implementation. And so Legacy is we were doing another team's Greenfield,
Yeah.
and thesis like new teams, but try to go farther than MVP, like a full, blown out application, full stack, but also deploying it as well. Which I don't remember if we did that for Greenfield to Legacy, but I know for certain we were deploying our apps for thesis. So
Yeah.
that was one of the main things, just having our full knowledge of how to develop an app, just do it, pretty solid and get it deployed.
Right, and there's a bit of a deadline, right? You had something like 3.5 weeks to get your thesis project designed and deployed, right? So you had a small team, and you're kind of under a deadline. Is that was there some pressure there, or how did you deal? What was that like?
There was pressure, but I mean, the entire merger was deadlines, so it's like every sprint's 2 days, Greenfield was about a week, so was
Yeah.
Legacy. So that was, if anything, more time than we ever experienced for preparation. So, I think we all were in good spots. We felt good about what we built. And obviously, it was a short time period, but we were already in that mindset of like incrementally developing and developing fast based on the time we had. So I
Yeah.
feel like that definitely benefited us.
Very cool. And so, I guess so. When you look back at the tech stack you were using then, are you guys still using some of that stuff? Makiya, how about you? Are you still in the Node environment and web development and all that kind of stuff with tech stack?
So the roles I've had, yeah, have both been basically the same tech stack. So a lot of node work. I'd say whenever I would like go outside of that is for rewrites. So I have done like a couple of those
Huh.
in previous roles, like switching over from Python to Node, or we had some like .NET stuff that we switched over to Node. So it was like, yeah, basically the same tech stack, but getting my feet wet with other stuff because we want it in Node, or that company wants the stuff done a different way. So
Cool. And so when you what you graduated and went kind of straight into a job, huh? Like you went over to was it golfballs.com or something like that?
Yeah. So first, I guess,
Which is a Louisiana company, by the way.
right,
They're pretty
shout
cool.
out golf balls.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, definitely jumped in pretty much right away. I think right in the meantime, I had a job at Abramson, and then did like a little bit of teaching / TAing over there. And then I was just basically waiting for my offer, like applying nonstop, just waiting to get my shot. And yeah, I got picked up by Golf Balls and then moved out to Lafayette and then worked there for about 2 years.
Yeah, nice.
That was fun.
Was that cool? Just I'm dropping into a new city over here. Had you been over there before or what?
Had not been to Lafayette before and was not looking forward to it, especially the way that I had driven in the first time. It was just like a bunch of grass and cows, and I was just like, man, this is not going to be good. But once I moved there, I felt so accomplished, right? Like I was able to move myself, across to a different city.
Yeah.
And start working. And
Yeah,
getting
man.
paid real cash. It was great. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I remember being just so super proud of you, man, and I bet your parents were too, because I met your father. I think I met your mom, but I definitely met your father back in the day when we were downtown. He came around and was like, he's a super nice gentleman. And I'm glad that it all worked out for you, because maybe he would have killed me if it didn't. But anyway, that's awesome. And so you went over to golfballs.com. What kind of stuff were you doing? What was like the team environment? What was going on for you there when you got into your gig?
Yep. So that was like right before COVID. I think I got in over there. The team was extremely small. So it was like 2 developers who had been there for a pretty good amount of time. And then also like our lead, who was like the VP as well. He was also like kind of our like most senior programmer. And then I also got hired alongside Wesley, who was another graduate from the program, I think maybe right behind me.
Yep.
And so we had about 5 people going in. By the time I left, I think we had at least, 10 people maybe.
Yeah.
Even had gotten Semaj on over at Golf Balls.
Nice. Yeah, that's right. Because you went to work. Did you move over there too, man? Semaj?
I think I came about a year after Makiya started, I want to say.
Yeah.
Close to a year. And I actually moved in with Makiya for like a month or a couple of weeks.
Couch bandit.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so you joined that team. The train was already moving then at that point. There must have been. Did you learn a lot when you started out? How was the team?
Oh yeah,
vibe and all that?
100%. When I first started, I actually they wanted me to make a serverless function for their like. Basically, we used that for the entire back end for like a really long time, and just me having to start that, never dealing with anything having to. I didn't even know what serverless was when I when I started.
Wow.
But like basically it was me and one other guy that we worked there, Nathan. He had got hired at the same time as me. We had to start that and like piggyback off of each other, and like, yeah, it was difficult, but it was doable and it was really fun. Just having to learn that like while I'm
Right.
like my first project.
Right. So let me ask a bit more about that vibe, because you're just getting thrown into the deep end a little bit on the job. And again, you kind of have that deadline, and some of the stuff is definitely familiar to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you're asked to like do something you don't even know what it is. So how did you deal with that? What'd you do?
I mean, I like having to do like being there in person helped a lot. I feel like just because like Nathan was right next to me working on like basically the same thing that I was doing, slightly different, but being able to bounce ideas off of him like really helped. But having to do all that research on like, I had to figure out, okay, what is serverless? Like, how do I even create a serverless function? Like, what does that mean? In the environment at Golf Balls, like people like really want to help, or like it feels like people really want to help you.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions at all, like it was really nice to be able to like, hey, I don't understand this. Can you please help me? Like I've been banging my head against the wall for an hour and a half, and I have gotten no progress.
Yeah. So what did you do though? Like when they were like serverless, you were like, let me Google that.
Yeah,
Or what'd you
literally, I was like, what is serverless? And had to read like all the Amazon documentation about how how to set
Okay.
it up and whatnot. Luckily, they did have some stuff there already. I think the like lead guy, I don't know what his role was. Robin
Yep.
had planned for like them to set up for serverless, so they already had the Amazon development account and all the like serverless YAML file and
Yeah.
ready to set that up. So
Okay, cool. So you and so the tech lead, I guess this guy was the tech lead, or what was his role?
he was like,
You wore a lot of hats.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty important guy.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah.
So he was helping you kind of get the boat in the water and the sails
Yeah.
up a little bit on the feature, but you had to go figure it all out, man. That's impressive. And it's impressive that you didn't buckle under it. You got it done, right?
I mean, I couldn't afford to not.
Right, right. Well, I love
But
it.
it was a really fun experience to have the like. I feel like having that pressure, like, especially coming from immersion, like you have 2 days to get stuff done, so it's
Yep.
like
Yep.
having that pressure on
Yeah.
like behind you, like really gets you going.
It's one of the principles of the program is to put students again and again into that scenario where they're like, I kind of know what I'm doing, but I'm being asked to do something that's a little bit outside of my purview or my experience, and I'm going to have to go and learn it. And so, because that's the dealio, man, when you're on the job, that's kind of the way you're going to be presented with problems that you got to solve on the job. So if we get people to kind of just familiar and comfortable with that, you can figure it out, man. Y'all have the engineering mindset, so it's just doing the research and figuring it out. But having that deadline also kind of makes it, you're gonna go and do it. You're gonna do it.
And that I don't know if y'all still have the stickers with the questions that you have to ask yourself.
Yes.
I feel like that really helped too because it was on like the back of my notebook,
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't know what to do, and then I started there, and that got me.
Well, you can
Got me
thank
going.
Liv for that if you remember Liv.
Yeah.
She came up with that. I think that maybe her and Ben. I can't remember, but I think Liv. It might have been Liv coming up with that checklist. Yeah.
There's a checklist.
Yeah. That's
Clutch.
right. And then Darrian, how about you, man? What have you been doing since? Are you coding? Have you done some work professionally? What happened after OpSpark for you, my man?
Yeah, I started working at this company called Blindly. I actually joined a little while after Alex.
Okay.
It was like we weren't getting paid necessarily, but we mainly did it for the experience. And then like a year after, I ended up joining the company that I was working with, Motobio, and we were
Okay.
working on basically a telehealth mobile app.
Okay. Cool.
Worked there for a year and a half.
Wow.
Now I'm just looking for next position,
Yep.
trying some other stuff.
Yeah, tell me about that gig. What was the tech stack in this mobile health thing? What was going on there?
It was majorly the same thing we worked on at OpSpark. A lot of Node, React, things of that nature. I didn't really have to learn anything too new because I was a front end developer mainly,
Yeah.
and our back end was in Python.
Okay, cool. Did you learn a little Python?
No, I was scheduled to learn Python the next year,
Mhm.
but I didn't get the chance to do that.
Okay.
Actually.
And so you were working in React and that kind of stuff on the client, or what were you doing?
Yeah, we were working in React and React Native because we had a mobile app and a web app.
Gotcha. And was it a cool team? How big was the team and all that?
The team was about like on the front end, maybe 4 or 5 of us, and on the back end probably like the same amount.
Okay.
At first it was like just 2 of us on the front end, and then it grew.
Yep.
Um,
And was that a Louisiana company? Where were they out of?
they were based in Arizona.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yep.
So it was remote work. Obviously, you weren't going out there.
Yeah, I moved to Texas, and I was working with them from there.
Okay, cool. In Houston?
Yeah.
Far out, man. I didn't know. All right, so wait, Alec, give me the deets, man. What happened after OpSpark? Where'd you go work professionally? Because I know you did a little bit of work. Same with Darrian, right? You worked for a startup or something for a bit.
Yeah, that's right. About like 3 months after we graduated immersion, I did job hunt, so I was in the job hunt room with all the other adults and just applying every day.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is about like 2 or 3 months into job hunt, and I feel like I had time on my side. So given like what Darian said, it was kind of a company that was in the preceding stage, so they hadn't been funded yet.
Yep.
So what the contract was equity. So you know how like jobs like that are. And I remember we sat down when I told you I got that job, and it was funny because there was maybe like four people in the room and they were cheering, and then you asked like, so how much are you making? And that's when I had to sit you down. I was like, oh no, I'm not making anything. But you know, I don't regret it at all. It was really good experience for me personally. I'd say, you know, I did a lot of Node and Express microservices over there.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
the new year, 2020, I got a job, a full-time position, at this company called Content Bloom.
Okay.
And
Yep.
they were a real small office uptown. The main offices were in Halifax, Canada, and in
Yeah.
India. But yeah, I got hired by the founder of the company. He was from England. He was a really cool dude. He moved the office over there because of, you know, the French vibes, I guess, of New Orleans. So yeah, that was really good. So I worked there for about 5 years. And it's a tech firm. So, you know, we were like had like enterprise level clients and whatnot. And so I kind of been on around the block doing multiple projects and whatnot with different clients and working on different tech stacks. So I've seen a lot. And I'm currently on a new position at Ibotta over there in Denver.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Far out. So wait. So you worked at that place pretty much solid from after you left the startup up until recently, or when did you go over to this new iBottom?
I just started at Ibotta in October.
Okay. And what's your gig over there? What's your title and all that?
I'm a full stack engineer. Yeah, but I'm on a platform team, so I do platform engineering as well.
That's awesome, dude. That's so awesome. Um, and so hopefully now also Makiya, you switched gigs too, right? You went to another place. Where
Yeah.
at?
So after I left golf balls, after about 2 years, I went to this company based in Boston called Oneup Health.
Okay.
It's like a health tech company doing a lot of like data transformations and like working on internal applications for like implementation engineers.
Nice.
So yeah, that was what I was working on stayed there for another 2 years, and then I left in February to go travel. Actually,
What?
So, yeah. Yeah.
Actually, it was sometime maybe when you got this sometime around when you jumped ships to this new job or the latest one that you were at there they're out of Boston, you said?
Yeah.
I remember seeing somewhere a picture of you jumping out of an airplane. I was like, yeah, man, this guy is living his best life type thing. But you know, we're all really proud to hear about your your jump and your trajectory and your career over here, because I think you might have called up Mayuk or something to chat with him about the new opportunities that were coming your way, and it was a real good jump for you in pay and all that kind of stuff. It was real life changing, I think, eh?
Yep.
Yeah, man, good for you. I mean, all of y'all, I just can't tell you how proud. And we talk about you here all the time. I think, Makiya, I still have your picture up in my office.
I appreciate that.
So somehow I got a portrait of you. I don't know where it came
Oh,
from.
I know exactly what picture you're talking about.
I had that since immersion, actually. It used to sit on the desk.
Yeah. It's in a gold frame.
Yep.
Not my best photo, but I'm glad it's there.
Well, the other thing, too, is I've known you now probably since you were 16 or something like that, when you first did our fundamentals class and then my advanced class, because you were in my advanced class with what's his name, Elijah? Do you remember Elijah?
I do. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
He came back and graduated. He went through the adult program. So he was in high school with you in my advanced class, and then he came back later and did the adult program, graduated.
Yeah.
God, good job. He was doing well. But I when you walked up today to the shop, I was like, oh my gosh, man, you're a grown adult. You look like a man now. And back then you were just a tadpole, just a teenager. So
Swimming around.
Yeah, just amazing to see all how well each of you have done. What's coming up for you? Let's see, Alec. What's on the horizon, man? What do you want to do next?
Well, I just got this new position at Ibotta, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm over here in the area of where they're based out in, and so I'm just really enjoying the office and working in a hybrid schedule. And I feel like it's got some really good growth opportunities. So I have a lot planned this upcoming year. So I'm gonna go through 2 internal programs and get specialized in certain domains. And I've been getting after it over there, and they've been really proud of and happy and impressed with my work. So I'm happy about that. So just plan on
So
making a good impact over here, and trying to get my guys over here as well. Open the door.
yeah, my guy. And so did you move out there?
Yeah, yeah, I'm out here.
Wait, 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 wait. They're in Colorado? And
That's
where?
right, Denver.
Denver. So you're in
Yeah,
Denver now.
that's right. Yeah, I moved out here last month. Oh no, November 9th.
Okay, okay, okay. Wow, yeah. Denver's nice, man. I like Denver.
Yeah, it's
But they
beautiful.
got winter.
A real winter over there.
They're running for me.
Yeah, I mean, last time I was out there was the middle of winter, and I got to tell you, like, I'm from Canada, and I'm like, I don't want to do that
I
anymore,
don't want no
man.
part of that.
So that's cool. So what kind of stuff are you doing? What's the tech stack? What's your role?
Yeah, so I'm a full stack engineer, but it's kind of interesting. It's a really fast moving company, so there's a lot of like team changes, and teams kind of hold certain domains on the application, and it's bigger than an app. Now I'm not sure if you're familiar with Ibotta, but they were the jersey patch sponsors for the Pelicans for a while. But it's like a saving app, and they have affiliate programs with certain brands and whatnot. So it's a really big app as far as like server side and handling all these partners and whatnot. So my team is in charge of all the affiliate reward stuff. But also like there's this new thing that we have developing which required a Next.js micro front end. So that's the first thing that I worked on when I got started.
Nice.
I'm working on some microservices, but it's in Java in particular. So I've just been setting that up. And yeah, it's going to be like AWS work primarily. That's kind of like the this suite of products that we use as far as like cloud.
Yeah.
And Java for our lambdas, it's Python, I believe, and Java.
Mhm.
But yeah, we have some Node stuff as well, but it's gonna be like around that. And then we have a Ruby monolith that I'll be learning this
Oh,
year.
Ruby, eh?
Yeah.
I don't know. Um, no, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. Ruby, I love to knock the Ruby guys because they're super. They're so like they're they're just so into it. I don't know. Tell me about. Do you like Next.js, man?
I do. It was my first time working with Next.js. I've had a lot of experience working in MERN stacks, with React and Express.
Yeah.
So it was an easy transition, and I really do like the concept of using React on the server side, and a lot of the new stuff too. It's a pretty fast moving framework to be honest. With 15 that just came out, I know a lot of the more important stuff came out with 14,
Yeah.
but they still release pretty fast. So it's been a joy working with honestly, and we got a lot of work done with that. So.
Yeah, and so they have their own cloud platform, huh?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
correct.
Vercel, right? Yeah, yeah. We started goofing around. I actually learned Next.js. It was like the last web technology stuff I ever touched, but so that's why I was asking. I was like, I'm not any good at it at all, but I was asking just because I was like, do you like it? Have you found it like kind of fast for development and that kind of stuff? Yeah, so that's cool. And then how did you? What about going from like something like a scripting language like JavaScript or functional language to something like Java, a static object-oriented language? How did you do with that? How are you making out there?
Pretty good. I mean, one of the things that helped was, transitioning into TypeScript for certain projects.
Hmm.
Like I did a little bit on the back end for Blindly, and I did some TypeScript stuff at Content Bloom as well. And I got exposed to some Java stuff. But at Content Bloom, I got lucky because when I got introduced to Java, I started out with JSP because we are doing a lot of MVC repos.
Yeah,
So, that's Java's server side, like HTML type stuff. So they could serve, web pages and stuff.
gotcha.
The syntax is similar to HTML, but it still has like some Java in it. And then you transition and working on the actual models and then the serverlets and whatnot. And it's pretty easy to follow once you start from there. With the context of having the HTML knowledge. But yeah, I also like understanding object-oriented programming is like a huge thing too. Understanding everything's like in packages pretty much. That was kind of crucial to me because with JavaScript, I feel like I didn't do classes much. Like I didn't create
Yeah.
classes much, and so it was definitely something to get used to with Java and like C# per se.
Yeah, yeah, C sharp as well. Yeah, so it's cool. I think object-oriented programming and a cool static language like C sharp or Java. There's some really powerful things that come along with that idiom, like um, composition and like the concept of composition over inheritance and all the design patterns. Um, there's a pretty are you guys are you hip to that book, the Gang of Fours, like design pattern book? That one's written in Java. There were four computer scientists back in the day. That must have been the late '90s or early 2000s when they wrote this book, and it's just an architecture type book around, just like patterns that solve problems in when you're designing applications. So that's a good book. If you're getting into Java and that kind of world, checking out that Gang of Four design patterns book would be really, it would just take your head to a whole other level with designing. And that's kind of the thing, like those static languages in Java. That's where all that stuff came from. Those design patterns were kind of built out of that language and that kind of idiom of object-oriented programming. So there's that book, and there's another one called Head First Design Patterns, which is kind of all the same patterns, but that Head First book is pretty funny. It's like it's a series that I think O'Reilly Books makes or whatever, and they have a whole bunch of different topics, but they come at learning in a whole bunch of different ways in the same book. Like you're going through. They'll have like little comics on the side, and then kind of a visual thing, and then a written thing, and then they'll test you as you're learning it and stuff like that. And then there's some kind of story going along as you're reading it. They just come at learning in a whole bunch of different ways. So it's a good series of books. But that design pattern one would be a good one to check out if you're getting jiggy with Java. But that's cool, man. You know how old are you now, Alex?
I just turned 24 today.
Yeah, happy birthday, Alex. Let's go.
It's today?
Yeah.
Your birthday's today, man? Oh my gosh.
Going out to some good restaurant right after this. So
you are?
Nice.
Sure.
Nice. That's awesome. You can probably get some good steak out there, man.
Oh, yeah.
In Denver.
do
Do you ski, man?
we were going to get into it until I realized how expensive it is.
Yeah.
So
Well, just get into snowboarding. You only have to buy one. Whereas skiing, you gotta buy two.
I know these guys are going to come out to visit sometime soon, so we'll
For
definitely
sure,
be doing that.
100%.
That's awesome. I mean, it's amazing that you're 24, and what about you, Micaa? How old are you?
23. I'll be 24 in about 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah.
And
I'll be joining Alex
Darian,
soon.
how old are you, man?
23.
23.
Yeah, I'll be 24 in 7 months, I guess.
Yeah. And Semaj, how old are you, man?
I'm 22.
Yeah.
May 22 of September.
I mean, it's shocking to me, like how young you are all still, like, and it's like you're mid-career already. You're now on to a couple gigs. You've had a couple years into a job. You're intermediate developers at this point. You're making good money, and I'm sitting here talking to you in technical terms. We're actually, I'm asking you questions about tech, and you're telling me the truth about it. Like what you're talking about, and you've rolled up your sleeves and gotten into it in a way that is just admirable. And it's like I'm talking to any old engineer, and you were just
The hard work's paid off.
What's that?
I said the hard work's paid off. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it hasn't, and it's just impressive to see that. And I have a lot of admiration for our grads, and I was saying to some, I was on this doing this interview the other day, and I was telling the guy, it was Noel, I forget his last name. He's a radio guy from here in New Orleans. He was interviewing me the other day, and I was like, man, every time I meet one of our grads from the immersion program, it's like I'm meeting a Jedi. They just have these kind of like, just another level of kind of ability, in my opinion. So I just really admire y'all for, not only going all the way through our high school program, but then, capping it off by, I'm going to spend a summer doing 6 days a week, 11 hours a day of this stuff. I mean, it was very impressive. And I'm just, I'm very proud of all of you. And so is all our staff and Mayuk and
Thank you.
and I'm sure Kendall is, and Maggie and all the teachers that worked with you when you were here at OpSpark. And so, I don't know, let's go around one more time and tell me about what the future looks like for y'all. What are your dreams? What are you guys planning on doing? I'll start with Makiya.
Oh man, dreams wise. So like I said, I left my previous company in February to go travel. So I've pretty much been living out my dream.
Wow, where
this
have you
year.
been? Where have you been?
I went to about 10 countries this year.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah, so bounced around the world. That's been amazing. I'm actually probably gonna do some more traveling, like for my birthday in March. Other than that, I've been playing like a ton of pickleball. Have you heard of pickleball?
No.
Oh my
I've been
gosh.
playing a ton of
The guy's the
pickleball.
champ over here.
And so,
What is pickleball?
so it's
Enlighten
like
me.
a glorified ping pong, smaller version of tennis. You play with a wiffle ball, and it's like the fastest growing sport in the world. So, if you don't know, you need to look into it now.
Okay.
I'll definitely play a lot of it.
I've heard of this thing, exercise.
Please save
I-
yourself. Do not
Yeah.
look into it.
You'll
Do
enjoy
not-
yourself.
Do not look into it.
It's
Oh,
amazing.
man. Okay.
Other
And-
than that, I'm looking to get employed again probably extremely soon. So I'll
Mhm.
start that job search probably in the next couple of weeks.
Mm.
And then because I do miss coding at this point, like I took a good
Yeah.
break and I'm looking forward to jumping back in. So yeah, that's pretty much what's next for me.
And are you living back here now in New Orleans? Or are you over in Houston?
I'm still in Houston.
Yep.
So in Houston and probably hopefully move this year as well.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. So
Yeah, I like Houston. I was over there a couple times. Not last year, but the year before. But it's still hot and humid over there, man. They still get
Yeah.
hurricanes. So I'm just like,
Yeah.
if I'm gonna move somewhere, I don't know.
gotta run from that.
Right. So maybe I was in Dallas too. That place is on fire.
Yeah.
There's a lot of growth there, and Austin, of course, too. SpaceX and all the sort of derivatives that are
Right.
going on over there. There's a lot of activity and just a lot of opportunity, it seems, in that area. But I don't know, Darrian, what about you, man? What's coming up? What do you want to do?
Got some stuff planned. Still looking for my next position. But
What do you want to do? What kind of work do you want to do?
I really want to do some like stuff on my own. I'm been looking into like some drone stuff that I'd
Oh,
like
yeah.
to like take part in, building some.
Yeah.
And also programming. I've been looking a lot into the DJI drone that they have out right now.
Yeah.
Like it can follow you around, and it's basically like a cameraman for you.
Yeah.
I want to see if I can do something like that with like on a greater level.
Yeah.
But yeah, still just looking for my next position. Yeah. That's pretty
Yeah.
much it.
And you want to do client side development or full stack or what kind of stuff?
Yeah, I'm. My last position was front end
Mhm.
based. So I'd like to get back into the more full stack because can't get enough of the back end. Back end is great. Love working on the back end.
Yeah, man. And Semaj, man. Oh, how about you, man? What do you want to do? What's coming up?
Right now I'm a bartender with Dickie Brennan's.
Yeah.
That's been pretty fun. I took a break about a year ago from coding.
Yeah.
I felt like I really needed it. Just working remote, I feel like I didn't like get to talk to people as much
Yeah.
and like have that like social interaction being cooped up in my room for 9 hours a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I am looking for my next role. I hope Alex is impressing his employers as much as he say he is, because I would love to move to Denver.
Yeah.
Colorado's always been the goal for me for like at least since I graduated OpsPark.
Yeah.
So
There's lots of opportunity there, man, too. I mean, I was out there maybe just before the pandemic and checking out. The city has like their high schools. They've got a pretty good apprenticeship type program called Career Rise or Wise, one of the two. And it's kind of similar to what I was describing with the CJET program in Montreal. You really start digging into like some technical thing or some kind of vocational thing in grade 11, grade 12, and then they have a 13th year as attached to it where you kind of go off and you work for the company. So anyway, I was out there checking it out, but we went around a whole bunch of companies when I was there, and I don't know, it seems like there's a lot of growth there as well, so I think Colorado's a good place to be for tech. And I know a guy out there went out there to do Elixir programming, so maybe I'll reach out to him, see what's going on in his world. Um, yeah, man, that's awesome. And wait, didn't somebody tell me that you wanted to be a fireman or something like that?
Okay, I actually have my firefighter agility test in about 2 weeks from now, or 10 days, 11 days, something like that. So,
Crazy, man. So tell me about
I completely
that.
forgot about that.
Yeah. Firefighter agility. I can jump through burning windows or whatever.
Yeah. Once I stopped doing, once I took a break from software development, I really hit the gym.
Yep.
So might as well put those skills to use somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, cool. That was cool. And so do you want to do that kind of work, or what's the goal? What are you doing?
Yeah, I think if I'm able to find a remote position with like flexible hours,
Yeah.
I would definitely be able to do the firefighter position.
Sure.
Just because for firefighters, you're on, you
Yes.
work for 24 hours and then you're off for 48.
Yeah.
So it'd
yeah.
be like, I'd leave work for a day or two out the week.
Yeah.
And then just go save kittens out of trees all day.
That's
Sounds
awesome.
good.
So wait a minute. When you're a firefighter, you probably got a lot of time to code when you're sitting around the firehouse, right? When
Exactly.
you're on
Yeah,
duty,
exactly.
because there's that, man. So you probably got a lot of opportunity to do work and also maybe even learn.
Yeah.
Keep learning.
Yeah.
Before I went back into coding, I was traveling a lot for work, and I spent a lot of time in airplanes, and that's actually how I got my skills together. This is before, you were still carting around. I was bringing these books with me on the plane to learn, animation programming or whatever it was. But I just took advantage of that time. So I think you could probably do the same for if you're in a firehouse all day long or whatever. So that's cool. And Darrian, what about you, man? What's well, wait, what did I already asked you, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no wait, Alex.
Yeah. So I have a 2-year-old baby now. So my
What?
trajectory.
They figured out how that happens, eh?
Yeah.
You'd be
Yeah.
surprised.
Back to code. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
great, man.
Thank you. He'll be 2 at the end of March. So, yeah, I mean, my kind of determination and the roadmap I've laid out for myself has kind of changed since then. So,
Yeah.
like I'm taking a little more, or at least pursuing a leadership role at my current role. I feel like I'm on a good track to be senior within like a year or two at this company. It's a really good company regarding growth and whatnot. So,
Yeah.
and from that point, I would love to be an architect by the time I'm 30, maybe even a little bit before that. So I definitely want to do that, and then get into something really important, in the space, just as far as like benefiting, the world and using tech with that. And I feel like I could definitely be at a position where that's possible in like 10 years from now,
Yeah.
just based on expertise and connections and whatnot. So it's definitely something I want to pursue, and then be out of the game by 40. That's always kind of
Okay.
yeah.
I don't think I'm ever gonna retire. I actually like working, but tell me, back up a bit here. Tell me about the architect thing. You want to be an architect, or do you mean like a web art?
Technical architect,
A what?
like a technical architect, like in the tech space still.
I
Not
see. So
necessarily.
yeah, like a Amazon architect type dealio, building the whole infrastructure, doing everything.
Yeah, per se. Mhm.
Senior, yeah. Okay, cool. That's awesome. So congrats on having a child, man. I didn't know that. Didn't hear that.
Thank you.
But that's awesome. Kids are amazing, and it also, I'm sure, gives you a real reason to succeed and be awesome and just continue doing what you're doing. But you were
Definitely.
always pretty awesome and serious about what you were doing. I remember that, man. You had real drive, and I really admired that about you. So I'm sure you're going to be senior before you're even 25 or whatever. So, man, it's great to catch up with all of y'all and just hear your stories. I mean, it's so impressive to see the work that you've done and what kind of options you have available to you now. Do you all feel like you have the technical chutzpah and know-how to do what you need to do in terms of like landing a job and moving forward in your career, or are there things you want to go back to school and learn? How about you, Makiya?
I feel great. I don't ever really feel like I don't have what I need, or that I'm at least capable of learning
Yeah.
and figuring out, any gaps that I have. I can pretty much figure that kind of stuff out.
Yeah.
So I feel really good about landing another role.
Yeah.
The only difference I think for me is that I've taken a literal break for a while.
Yeah.
But the muscles you flex don't really just fade
No.
that easily. I might not see it every single day, but I definitely remember what comes first and what goes last. That type of thing.
Oh,
So yeah, I don't have any worries there, any doubts there.
Yeah, no, I've stepped in and out of software development for years, and even now at OpSpark, like there's a lot of coding I did in the early years and writing a lot of curriculum and all that kind of stuff, and now I'm almost doing nothing. But a few years ago, I wrote a bunch of curriculum and a bunch of projects for Unity for video game programming, and I had to pull it out and dust off the cobwebs and all that, and that was my background before starting OpSpark. So I had a background in it, but I still had to get back and get back up in my head and
Yep.
figure it out again. And you can do that. That's the thing. Once you've done it, it's like riding a bike or whatever.
Second nature.
Yeah. And so, Semaj, how about you? Do you feel like you got all the weapons you need to crush it?
Yeah, 100%. I'm on the same page as Makiya. I feel like going through OpSpark helped me a lot. Not necessarily, well, they obviously teach JavaScript and whatnot,
Mhm.
but being able to learn concepts is I feel like is a skill that I gained from going through OpSpark.
Yeah.
Like knowing what questions to ask is
Yeah.
75% of the battle,
Right.
Yeah.
So being able to decipher hey, I don't know this specific thing,
Yeah.
and going out and getting that is really important.
Yeah. Awesome. And Darrian.
Yeah, I agree with what Semaj said. A big takeaway that I got from Operator Spark is we're not learning how to code, we're learning how to learn. So
Yeah.
we can learn how to do just about anything we put our mind to,
Yeah.
And it really helps in the real world, learning how to learn,
Yeah, man.
for sure.
By the way, I have a drone. I got a little DJI drone a few
Okay.
years ago it's not a very good one. It's like a little mini job. It's not one of their cinematic ones or whatever, but I got it so I could get up on top of my house. We got hurricanes over here and you got to inspect your roof, man.
Right.
And I'm not getting up there. It's like,
That's pretty smart.
So I got this little thing and it goes up there for me to send the robot.
Yeah.
So
idea.
they're fun though, man. This thing, it's only a little zippy, but it's fast. I've taken it out by the lake, where there's no trees to run into and
Right.
zipped around with. It's pretty fun. But yeah, man. And then Alex, how about you, man? What about do you feel like you've got all the skills? You're over there just plowing ahead, man. So how do you feel about where you're at?
Yeah, definitely same sentiment as them, and that's appreciation to what you've built over here in the team. I feel like you've given us such an amazing opportunity and truly turned my mind to an engineering mind, and to what I believe it was either Darren or Semaj just saying, we could really go and do whatever we want now because it's a certain learning mindset that you have to have, and
Yeah.
to succeed in the field, but also that mindset can be applied to so much more disciplines and a lot of other things in life. So that was crucial. You just coming to this program to I don't know if I'd be in the same position without it. So definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Well, that's awesome. Yeah.
I mean, to add on to that, I don't know if you know, but the only reason I was able to do the immersion program this summer and be sitting alongside these guys is because I went to OpSpark and was able to get those credits from half day to be able
Oh,
to
yeah.
graduate early.
Oh, right.
And then after that, so really OpSpark helped me meet my best friends, I guess you could say.
Yeah, awesome.
Well said, well
Well, that's it, man. You guys got to start your own company, man. You
Hey,
got to
it's in the
start
works.
the
We
Fab
have had
Four.
so many conversations about this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Yeah,
We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And when you're the next Apple or Google or whatever it is that you guys come up with, you gotta come back and tell us all about it, man.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. Well, listen, I want to thank you all for taking the time to arrange to come in and watch what I'll have not pressed record on this or whatever. Boomer.
Take two.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again next year, whatever. But I think I got it. We'll see. Because like I said, it was kind of new getting Alec piped in by Zoom on this thing. But I'm glad we were able to do this. And Alex, thank you so much for coming over and arranging this, because you were kind of I was talking to you on Slack, and you helped get everybody together, and it was good to get the band back together and jam one more time.
Yeah.
But like I said, we're so proud of all of you here and just have so much admiration for you. And I just wish you all the best. And, whenever you're in town, please come by and you can always work from here and just chill from here, or just come by and say hello. If you're ever around and there's opportunity for you guys to talk to the high schoolers, do it, man, because you'd be a huge inspiration to a lot of the young kids that are still engaged with the program. They did well last year. Mayuk and those guys had about 800 kids across the state engaged.
Wow.
And
That's a
now,
lot.
yeah. Now he's got him and his team there. They've got a bunch of teachers around the state trained up, to teach fundamentals, and some of them are teaching advanced now and all that. And
Nice.
so they're still kicking and doing it, man. And we'll keep trying to do what we do and keep it going and all that. So, but listen, thank you guys for stopping in, and I just want to say, Happy New Year or whatever. Good luck with everything. Good luck with your travels and your job searches and firefighting, and with your child, Alex, and with your drone desires. Drone desires. That's the name of your band.
Yep.
And we'll leave it there, y'all.
All right.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah. All right, take it easy, y'all.